OPFi is a very promising stock for 2025, although it's risky and it's also a small cap company with a certain level of uncertainty. Moreover, it is currently benefiting from the strong momentum in finance, specifically in lending, because OppFi is an online platform for loans and credit provision. Now, the Morningstar rating gives it 4 stars. I'm curious why that is, because the fair value estimate is below the current price, as you can see. However, analysts, and there are only 2 of them, also provide a higher price range, although it's not very much. But right now, OppFi scores high in various screenings and databases. A lot of investors are taking advantage of that, so it could very well be that the momentum is going to increase significantly, especially because it's such a small, under-the-radar company that benefits from strong upward momentum in lending. The current price-to-earnings ratio is around 9 to 10. Now, based on the fair value, it should be a bit higher. What does that mean exactly? Let's take a look at the forecasting. Now, a price-to-earnings ratio of around 10 with growth, which is actually still very small and limited growth, estimated for the end of 2025, would justify a higher price-to-earnings ratio even with limited growth. That does mean that the return could be 35% in just 1 year. I wonder if it's a really good investment. Content-wise, I don't know OppFi very well. I wouldn't label it as a long-term investment, more speculative in nature indeed. But here might be an opportunity for those who know the company better. What stands out is that it scores very high on the factor analysis, the quant rating from Seeking Alpha. By the way, also check out our descriptions in the YouTube description. You'll see a number of links, including an interesting discount link from Seeking Alpha, which gives access to one of the more reliable databases that we use. OPFi doesn't have a lot of data in the system right now, so I would be a bit more cautious about that. But they are looking at a lot of stocks, approximately over 4,300 in total. OppFi currently scores 3 out of 685 stocks in the sector and is also number 1 in the industry. So it could be quite interesting to do some research on OppFi, especially for the growth. EBITDA growth for next year is estimated at 46%. Very interesting. There are a few characteristics. I've been using Seeking Alpha for 4 years. I can say it, but I don't think it's that important. Because for me, a red flag is the profitability, which is still very low. That might rise a bit in the future due to the positive momentum. I would still be cautious about it. Smaller companies, small cap companies, it's all still uncertain, and they can rise very sharply or drop just as sharply. However, I have my doubts about the long term. In the short term, it looks good. It seems to be a strong buy based on factor analysis. It's a strong buy based on a rank of 6. They are giving a price target of around 9.25. And also, if you look at the technical aspect, fundamentally speaking, the price-earnings ratio is under 10, so that's not super high. You can see that after a scandalously bad IPO in 2021, the stock has dropped hard by about 81%. Here it was definitely much more interesting to buy, but you really had to be brave with a company that isn't very well known and is also active in the lending market with a lot of competition. It's basically just a commodity product, so you have to be willing to take the risk, and in that perspective, there are possibly much better companies out there. However, purely based on technical analysis, we see a strong increase in momentum, and it's very interesting when this price rises above the IPO price or the SPAC price, however you want to call it, the IPO price, because then the number could still rise a lot further. Now, this seems to be a mental resistance level for technical traders, so that means an increase of about 10%. If it rises above that, then that's another 18% increase to the IPO price. I'm curious about what happens next. Risky, speculative, not a great stock, but time will tell.